Welcome to Ford Fair 1998, without doubt, Europe's biggest all-Ford extravaganza. Coming up, Ford Motorsport take the opportunity to let their new Puma Evolution rally car off the leash with ace rally driver Stig Blomqvist. Love them or hate them, you just can't ignore Ford's new baby. And if you ever laughed at its friendly-faced appearance, here's where it takes its revenge. From pristine 50s classics to state-of-the-art road racing Cosworths, Ford Fair has something for everyone who's into Fords. With over 50 owners clubs from all over Europe and around 100 trade stands and selling everything from stickers to complete engines, you'll find what you're after here. For over a decade, Ford Fair has been the place to be each summer for die-hard Ford enthusiasts. For the last 3 years, it's been held at the picturesque setting of Cornbury Park. Cornbury Park itself dates back to 1312. Nestling in the Wychwood Forest, it was used as a hunting lodge by Edward II. In 1642, Charles I gave Cornbury Park to Henry Danvers, the Earl. Hang on. If it's anything to do with Ford, you'll surely find it here. From 60s classics right through to modern technological marvels. In fact, anything to proudly wear the blue oval badge through the gates of Dagenham. Most of the thousands of people gathered today are here for one reason, to see the cars, from 60s Cortinas to fire-breathing Escort Cosworths. You've got to be good to make it onto the front cover of Fast Ford magazine, and some people will go to extraordinary lengths to get their car into print. Take Julian Hill, for example. He even went to the trouble of using a new body shell when he was rebuilding his Sierra Cosworth. But all the hard work was worth the effort when the car appeared on the cover of Fast Ford's September 1998 issue.
Hi, I'm Julian Hill. This is my 1986 Sierra Cosworth three-door. Basically, it's been a little bit of projects over the last 3 years, starting with a brand new body shell, repainted in British Racing green, 17-inch wheels, cross-drill brakes, Coney suspension with full motorsport springs. Basically, the engine is running on grey fuel injectors, 25 pounds of boost with a hybrid Group A turbocharger, fully licensed and balanced, the usual sort of modifications to make a reasonably quick and drivable everyday road car. Hopefully that it's appreciated by a lot of people. It certainly gives me a lot of enjoyment. And I'd like to say a big thanks to everyone that helped out, especially Mum and Dad for putting up with me and the money loan, and everybody else who helped with the car. It's all very much appreciated.
For a perfect finish, the Cosworth body kit was bonded onto the shell, and the Sierra was painted in British Racing green. It's actually a TVR colour, which explains why you don't see many Sierra Cosworths like this. Finishing off the look, Julian lowered the car on Ford Motorsport springs with adjustable shock absorbers and sat it on a set of 17-inch Teen Dynamics DTM wheels. Julian wasn't just after a pretty paint job though, so the engine's also been thoroughly reworked. The 2-litre Cosworth turbo motor's been rebuilt to racing standards with a gas-flowed cylinder head and specially made turbocharger, high-lift camshafts and, oh yes, a truckload of polished aluminium pieces to keep it all looking the part. It works too. Julian reckons his Cosworth puts out around 350 horsepower, which makes it comfortably faster than his other car. A Mini. Got all that? Thought not. Here's the full lowdown on the car. Ford Fair isn't just about modern cars, though. Spend enough time in the concourse and you'll probably find at least one of every model which ever went on sale in Britain, plus a few Ford oddities from around the world. Belgian Ford enthusiast Xavier works in the Genk Ford factory in Belgium and has owned his 1980 Mark II RS2000 from new. A few years ago, the Escort started to show its age, so Xavier decided it was time for a rebuild. The engine was taken out to 2.1 litres. The cylinder head was breathed on, a hot camshaft added, and a lightened and balanced flywheel thrown in. The package was then topped with twin Weber carburetors, and Xavier reckons he's looking at around 150 horsepower. The bodywork features an immaculately prepared, modified X-Pack body styling kit. But look at the inside and you'll be really impressed. The rear seats are home-built from mouldings taken from the front seats, and they weren't easy to fit, according to Xavier. Almost everything you look at is custom-built, including the retrimmed electric front seats, and Xavier has even added an exact model replica of his car under the bonnet. If you thought cleaning your car was a quick sponge down on a Sunday afternoon for half an hour, you want to see what's going on at Concourse. I'm not kidding. Some of these people have been polishing away since sunup. Everybody likes to give their fast Ford a decent clean-up and wax every so often, preferably on a warm Sunday afternoon with a cool beer close at hand. But what drives people to assemble in a muddy field under a light drizzle at the crack of dawn, polishing tyre treads and making sure the inside of the wheel arches has that perfect shine? That's the Concours d'Elegance competition for you. So when you got up this morning, you thought your toothbrush was for cleaning your pearly white gnashers. Well, think again. Here, it's for getting a good shine on your tyre treads. It's all about originality. Simply put, the closer the car is to its condition when it left the end of the assembly line, the more points you'll win. That's if you're competing in the standard classes, of course, where the ultimate prize is the Car of the Show award. And it's all about originality and keeping your Ford showroom standard. In the modified classes, it's a different game. The judges won't be deducting marks for the way you fitted that 2.9-litre Cosworth V6 into your Fiesta, but they will be dishing out points according to how well you've done it. Bodge a bit of welding or make an untidy cable run, and they'll have you for it. They're not just looking for the most modified cars either. They're looking for the best modified cars, which means a sensibly tweaked Fiesta stands as much chance of winning the Fast Ford Modified Car of the Show trophy as a £50,000 thrown together Escort Cosworth running 50 psi of turbo boost, but which won't tick over in traffic. Whatever your preference in the world of fast and classic Fords, you can't argue that the high-performance Concours brings together a collection of the best prepared cars you'll see in any one place. There are over 200 this year, so take a look at some of the cars we've captured on film and get some ideas. Start polishing now, and you might be in with a chance at Ford Fair 99. It's all a quest for vital points in a contest where a squash fly on your grill can mean the difference between winning or losing. Talk to Malcolm Strickland, and you'll see just why he's walked off with the Standard Car of the Show award. He's owned his Imperial Blue Escort Cosworth from new, and in that time just 975 miles have rolled under the wheels. In fact, it's probably fair to say that it's in better condition now than when it left the Karmann factory in Germany, where all those Escort Cosworths were made.
My name is Malcolm Stickland. I own the Escort Cosworth, which I bought in September '95. I've just won the car of the day in the standard class at the Ford Fair. I've owned the car for 3 years. In that time, it's been completely left standard. We put a lot of time and effort into actually cleaning the underside of the car to get rid of the wax and to bring it into a concourse condition.
Meanwhile, proving that you don't win the modified car of the show awards simply by throwing wheelbarrows full of money at your Ford, Steve Hurst sat down and planned a careful series of improvements to his XR3i, which didn't break the bank, but which doubled his driving pleasure and mean he's going home with the modified car of the show trophy at the same time.
Hello, my name is Steve Hurst. This is my XR3i Mark V modified. Not only have I walked away with the modified Mark V section at Ford Fair, I've now walked away with the show. I had the car since 1993, kept it standard for a year. After that I then decided that I wanted to go modified. First thing I was replaced was with a Power Engineering catback exhaust. Then decided that the ride height was too high, so I had it lowered by leader with a switcher strut brace on the engine bay. The discs I've just put on are G-Force 2000s, grooved and drilled. The front of the car I've cosmetically lowered with a Mondeo lower lip spoiler. And what I've basically done to the car is trying to modify it but tasteful.
We're talking modified. We're talking souped up. We're talking horsepower. We're talking loud and in your face. Salvador Diaz drove his 1984 Sierra XR4i all the way from Hamburg to compete at the Ford Fair. And if you live in the south of England, you probably heard him drive past too.
My name is Salvador Diaz. I came from Hamburg to the Ford Fair, and this is my XR4e. It's a little crazy, but it's okay.
Where there used to be a big practical hatchback boot, you'll find what looks like a Star Trek fusion drive made from perspex and neon. That's Salvador's custom-built enclosure for his stadium-sized array of speakers and amplifiers, and the built-in dancing figures. You'll find no less than 6 speakers in each door, with more scattered all over the inside, so it's just as well Salvador's fitted a full road cage in there. It probably helps hold the car in one piece when he turns up the volume. The XR4i isn't all noise and no action either. He's not saying what he's done to it, but Salvador has also been at work on the XR4i's 2.8-litre V6 motor to coax a few extra horses out of it. Just the job for those long Autobahn journeys. It's not just the blue oval badge they have in common. They've all been polished to within an inch of their lives.
My name's Steve Thomas. Come up from South Wales yesterday. As you can see, it's my pride and joy. My Escort RS Turbo Series 2. A few of the modifications done to the engine. A lot of chrome. Like try to paint everything blue if I can. Either paint or chrome it, polish it. Or paint it the orange colour you see. Going on to the bodywork, is that doors have been delocked, all controlled by the Clifford alarm. RS spec lower and rear bumpers. Badge is an RS 1600T. Bonnet's been smoothed off and lost the Ford badge. Going on to suspension, Coney adjustables all round, chassis dynamics, lower end springs. On the brake side, black diamond grooved and drilled on the front. On the back, XR 4x4 rear calipers, discs, and a little modification I made to the an RS 500 brake cable. On the ice side, the boot install, 2 Eminence subs, a couple of Alpine amp, Pioneer amp, a couple more to do. So, on the inside, standard Recaro interior. Some of the dash has been colour coded again. The carbon fibre detailing, really. That's That's about it.
Producing 152 horsepower from the mildly tuned RS turbo motor, we're glad to see that Steve's one-off paint job has been chosen to give the sheep a sporting chance to get out of the way when he's giving the Escort a serious thrashing around the Welsh lanes. Read the car's details for yourself. Remember, we'll be testing you on all this. You've seen the born-again Steve McQueen putting the Puma through its paces in Ford's TV ads for their new coupe. But the Puma Evolution rally car is a long way from the svelte coupe Steve uses to cruise round downtown San Francisco in the Bullet-style TV ads. The Evolution is a fully prepared rally car, intended to compete in both national and international rallying championships and mix it with the state-of-the-art rally missiles from all the other manufacturers. There are just two versions of the road-going Puma, a 1400cc and a 1700cc version, but the Evolution offers a rather longer optional extras list. You can still choose from the same 14 or 1700 engines, but they've both been treated to a thorough going over by Ford Motorsport, who've managed to squeeze 150 horsepower out of the 1400 and well over 200 horsepower from the 1700. If that's still not enough, there's a balls-out, no-holds-barred version called the Puma Prototype, which is aimed at the more extreme fringes of motorsport, like ice racing and hill climbing. Sitting on the four-wheel drive hardware from the Escort World Rally car, the Prototype comes with a list of engine options as long as your arm, including a 2-litre version of the Zetec engine or Ford's Duratec V6, both putting out around 300 horsepower. All the cars share similar bodywork, which means a dose of muscle for the Puma's fashionable curves. The international rallying regulations allow the engineers to really pump up the width of the bodywork, which means the rally Pumas can run on anything up to massive 9 by 18-inch wheels. Apart from those flared wheel arches, the cars also feature a deep front spoiler and a massive rear wing. The Puma also has bonnet vents big enough to lose an arm in to let all that heat out. With a 300 horsepower V6 under the front end, you'll probably need them too. Just don't try asking for one down at your local Ford dealer. The Ford KA, or is that Ka, or maybe Car? Oh, what the hell, let's call it a Ka. Love it or hate it, you just can't ignore Ford's new baby, and if you ever laughed at its friendly-faced appearance, here's where it takes its revenge. Before you go, have you ever been in a rally car?
No, this is my first time.
Are you frightened?
Yeah.
Oh, good. You might expect to see rows of them lining up at the Tesco trolley park, but I bet it never occurred to you that people might rally the things. That's right, there's a whole rally series devoted to the car. Strangely enough, it's called the Ford Rally Car Championship, and all you need to join is your own car, and about $7 grand to transform it from a mild-mannered city slicker into a special stage warrior. Various tweaks to the car's 1300 motor lift the power output by about 30 horsepower, while a limited slip diff helps the power to get to the gravel, and uprated brakes and suspension help keep it out of the trees. Of course, this is serious motorsport after all, so inside it's all stripped out, with a hefty roll cage just in case. If you can bolt it onto or into a Ford, you'll find it here. There's over 50 specialists at Ford Fair, so if you want your car to go faster, handle like a racing car, or just plain look the business, you'll find what you're after. Ford never made a turbocharged convertible version of the Mark IV Escort, but Melvin Chapman's is such a neat job you could be forgiven for wondering which factory it came from. The car started life as a standard 1989 Escort XR3i Cabriolet, but when Melvin got his hands on it, things had to change. Out went the XR3i engine in favour of an RS turbo motor. But the car's been an ongoing project for Melvin over the past few years, and every time we run into him, he's done something else to it.
Started life as a XR3i Cabriolet, 1989 on a G. First thing I did to it was I turboed it, and then it's progressed now to over 2 litre. I don't know exactly what horsepower it's kicking out, but it's enough to make it wheel spin at 90 in 5th gear. It's got disc conversion all round, Cosworth. Big turbocharger and water injection. All leather interior, about 3 grand's worth of Clifford alarm on it and 3.5 grand's worth of stereo.
Melvin reckons the Cabriolet now has enough power to wheel spin in 5th gear if you're careless enough with the loud pedal. But all that power does have a use. When it's not being polished up for a show, Melvin uses the Escort to tow his speedboat down to the beach. God help you if you get any sand inside though. The Escort's even smarter on the inside. Would-be water skiers sit on blue, half-leather Connolly seats, and Melvin's plumbed in several £1,000s worth of stereo gear to keep them laughing. If I told you everything he's done to the car, we'd be here all day. But here are the important bits you really want to know.
Hello, my name's Nigel Sheen. I'm the owner of this Mondeo. It's a Power Engineering ZTEC Turbo T2 conversion Mondeo. It's 208 brake horsepower at 5,303 RPM and it's 246 pound of torque at 3,427 RPM. I bought the car 2.5 years ago, and since then it's been the Power Engineering, where it's had a full ZTEC Turbo T2 conversion consisting of a T25 light pressure water cooled turbine, Piper 270 fast roll cams, a twin core closed loop charge cooler. There's also a modified exhaust manifold by Power Engineering. There's a HKS air filter inside as well, and generally the engine has been maintained and by Power Engineering since I bought the car. The suspension is Coney sport adjustables all round, and the front springs are Jamrick springs, which are minus 30mm at the front, but the rear springs are standard. The exhaust is Power Engineering's own design, which is a twin stainless steel exhaust with 3-inch tailpipes at the rear. The modifications on the outside, it's a full RS dress body kit, Escort Cosworth body vents, and just some odds and ends that I fitted in myself to make my own personal touches.
If all that's too much to take in, here's the full lowdown on the car.
I'm Chris Smith from Blackpool, and this is my Ford Transit Cosworth van. Started life as a diesel transit, single wheelbase diesel transit. I bought it for work originally and decided it was too good for work, so I converted it into the Cosworth. Then it started as a Cosworth 205 block with an Escort Cosworth head, T3 turbo, low compression pistons, and it's running 350 horsepower. That's basically the engine. It's got standard Transit T75 gearbox in, Transit 160 limited slip back axle, and it's running a motorsport clutch. Wheels, I've had to adapt 17-inch wheels, Ford fitting, and I've had to have adapters machine to fit from 5 stud to 4 stud, which was the hardest part of the van. As for the interior, I started off, I took the complete interior parts, put a Mondeo dashboard in with Escort Cosworth clocks. 6 seats, started life as RS turbo seats, fully stripped down and recovered. Trimmed all the interior myself as it was just a basic van, all soundproofed. And one of the major jobs was the sunroof, putting the sunroof in, which is 4 foot by 2'6", biggest sunroof you can buy. Apart from that, it runs really well, really quiet. Put side windows in it. Had the body kit made. The body kit's made by Fibre Sports in London, which took them 3 months to make. Front bumper is partly from Severn Valley and partly from TBR Motorsports in Blackpool. And all the paintwork was done by Cornbury Road Body Shop in Blackpool, which is very good.
Want to build your own turbo transit? Here's what you'll need. But remember, always ask an adult before cutting up their transit van. It's not all cars, you know. There's loads more going on.
Any thoughts, Neil, you want to give me one? Absolutely none. Okay, there's none on there. Okay, absolutely none. Just take a look over there.
The creek.
Okay, here we go then.
One, fire!
On the video, we'll be able to see one of your nostrils. That was brilliant. Great stuff.
Christ, what a day. They've worked their fingers to the bone with polishing rags. They've all scared themselves witless on bungee jumps and on the rally stages. And they've bought enough Ford parts to, well, set up their own car plant. As for me, I'm off home for another year.